All right, James, we just had Max on from Sour Strips, I believe.
Hmm. Yep.
Dude, after that call, I'm hyped. I'm hyped as hell. What did you think?
Yeah,
What did
bro.
you
I
think
loved
about it?
up. I've been following Max on YouTube for years, leading up to this, and before he started his businesses. So I've got. I mean, he's documented basically his whole process from starting his first business ever forward, then through to sour strips, and he documents everything on there. So I've just been following along. But yeah, super interesting. Get to chat about the inner workings of his mind and how the businesses are running and the unconventional ways of growing a massive multi-million-dollar business, really, in a space that most people wouldn't think to go into. It's an interesting one.
Yeah, good business to get into, it seems like. But yeah, what really surprised me is like how he works. It's like unconventional in the CPG space. So like my mind was blown, and I'm sure it was quite visible the whole time. But he makes it work, and I'm like pretty impressed with what he's done. Like I'm like
Yeah,
genuinely like very very impressed.
and
Um,
he's got more streams of income than just that as well. He's got that plus Everforward plus his YouTube channel absolutely crushes too because he has sponsorships every single video. So
yeah, I'm sure
he's just got
it's
multiple things
killing it.
going on. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, guys, go watch the video. I think it's a good one. Send in some love on YouTube. If not, just rate us on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. Go listen to it, guys. What's good, everyone? It's Jackie Chow,
And this is James DeLacy.
and you're listening to This Week in Digital Marketing.
All right, welcome to This Week in Digital Marketing. I'm your host, James DeLacy. We have my co-host, Jackie Chow, and we have our esteemed guest, Max Tuning, joining us on the pod. And usually we have our guests, I guess, giving a little bit about themselves, but I've been following and watching your stuff since, I think, before your Ever Forward launch. Your full day of
Yeah,
eatings, we could say. Yeah, yeah. Been a while,
that's
been
the
a while.
OG days,
So,
dude.
yeah, for sure. So I'll give a brief intro myself just to give Jackie some background too. So, and you can fill in the rest, Max. I'm gonna miss a bunch of shit, I'm sure. But essentially, you started Ever Forward as your first company from your YouTube channel, and essentially you built your audience through your vlogging, mainly through your full day of eating stuff and your lifting content. Ever Forward's done quite well, and then eventually you launched Sour Strips, the candy brand, and that thing is just absolutely crushing. And I know Jackie plays in the D2C space too as a successful dinnerware company. So I'm sure he has
Oh.
plenty of questions for you there as well. And but before the Sour Strips, you were partnered in a gym district barbell out there where it was almost like your distribution center, right? For
Yeah,
Ever
essentially.
Forward there. Yeah. And then eventually you moved to Houston. And now you're just out of that massive Alpha Lab facility, which is absolutely huge. But I'm sure I've missed a ton there. Do you want to maybe fill us in with any of the gaps that I missed?
I mean, as a very broad general overview, that's essentially what it is. I'm a YouTuber, entrepreneur, business owner, cool guy, whatever order you want to put those in. But yeah, I love making content. I love making YouTube videos, kind of about my life and the cool things that we do, and sharing it with my audience. And from that, I was able to build a couple of cool businesses that have grown larger than I originally expected them to. So now I'm going down that path of entrepreneurialism and learning the entire way because I don't have any partners in these business ventures, and so just kind of figuring it out every day, bro.
No, for sure. Jackie,
I
do you have
love y'all's
something to?
accents, by the way. Y'all from New Jersey?
I'm from New Zealand. Jackie's from Canada.
Yeah, I'm Canadian, so I
Close
get
but I live
enough,
in
dude.
but I live in Texas now, so I guess a Texan, New Zealand, something,
So you're from
whatever
New
I am.
Zealand, so that means you're a no. Don't tell me no, because they're not. Oh my God,
Don't
what do they call people from New
don't say
Zealand?
kangaroo. Don't say kangaroo.
No, I know it's not a roo. What's New Zealand? What's New Zealand? I know
A kiwi.
a
Kiwi.
kiwi. That's what. Damn it, dude! I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. To be honest, I don't know if you guys have a eternal beef with Australia because their accents are similar, at least to the dumb American. I think most people think they sound similar, but I
Yep.
think being a kiwi is definitely cooler than being a roo or a dingo. I don't know,
Oh,
or an
mad respect
Aussie.
there.
We love. I
I
love the
I
Kiwi
agree.
name, man.
I agree. Perfect.
But yeah, as James said, I'm extremely interested in what you've done so far in the D2C space, and I'm actually, yeah, I have like a ton of questions just popping up through my brain. Just to give you a bit more sense, our audience is primarily business builders and then business
Oh.
flippers as well. Um, Mostly in the content game, but like the blogging side.
Business
Um,
flippers, meaning people buy other people's businesses, or they build them up and get rid of them real fast, and build up another one and get rid of them real fast.
Both,
Bit of
both.
both.
So, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So what I do is I buy up like smaller assets, grow them, and then eventually exit to private equity. So I guess that rolls pretty much into it. You have two brands right now. What are your goals for it? Is it like a just like a fat, juicy exit? Is it a lifestyle brand that you want to continue running, or what's like the vibe for you?
It wasn't until I started Sour Strip. So just to give a little context, Ever5, two companies. I have Everford Apparel, which is a clothing brand that is pretty tied with me. And then I have a candy company called Sour Strips, which most of our sales nowadays come from people who do not know who I am, which is a great thing.
Hmm.
And it wasn't until I started Sour Strips that I learned that apparently in the CPG space, the most common question is, you know, would you sell it? Are you going to sell it? What's your exit? Like it's funny because like when you start a clothing company, that's just not even a question. That's not even something that people bring up. It's just like maybe that's not normal, which I understand. Whereas the CPG space, I think it's just very normal to get acquired at some point, but that was never my initial. I wasn't starting Sour Strips so that I could get acquired by someone. And I understand the space more now, so I understand why companies would buy certain companies, how we may be attractive to brands for acquisition, but I am not building this company just to be acquired. I think I think the easiest way to, as I've gone down the path, I think the easiest way to learn about companies that who are looking for acquisition are those generally who are raising a lot of funding and capital out of the gate, who are running at a loss, month over month, year over year for they have to get to $50 million before they can break even, which is just mind blowing to me. Different strategies, I guess, but as someone who is very much in the learning phase of owning something like this, I can't imagine. I'm already stressed out on a day-to-day basis. Imagine just producing at a loss every month. That would stress me so much out. So long-winded answer to say that my goal is to just enjoy what I do, brother. Like I like I like the disruptiveness I've done in the candy space. I love the excitement that I get from people who are trying the seeing the brand for the first time, and I'm excited for the future. We have a lot of cool things planned that are going to unfold to the audience over the next 6 to 12 months, and yeah, we just kind of take day by day, bro.
Yeah, sounds good. And what does your team currently look like? Because I know you're not really the. I took a look at your social channels, and you're not really the one creating the content anymore, right? You're kind of orchestrating, managing the people behind it. Or am I completely off base here? And I guess like where's your main traffic or revenue driver at this moment? I guess it looks like it's organic, right?
Yeah, I mean, we are about almost 4 years old. We're 3.5 years old. We'll have our four-year birthday on September 9th, which is also my birthday. I'll be 34, old as shit. And can I curse on here? Can I
Yep.
Yeah, please do.
say? And yeah, so going into our fourth year, I definitely changed up my role a little bit. Our team is very small. We have about, as of right now, full-time salaried employees. We have myself and um, five other people that are full-time salary. Then we do have the distribution side of things where we'll have anywhere from 7 to 10 full-time hourly employees that are at the warehouse every day just doing warehouse related duties, but a lot of those people will quickly move into full-time salary roles very soon as these roles unfold. I see a lot of companies that are doing $5 million in revenue or something like that, and they're like, yeah, here's our CFO, here's our chief operations officer, here's the lead marketing manager. here's the brand growth strategist, and I'm like, what are y'all doing? Like, you only need like 3 or 4 people, man. Like, you really don't need like all these crazy different departments and stuff, or maybe I'm doing it wrong. But we keep it really lean to keep it profitable. And my role in the company now, I don't do the content creation. You're correct on that. We outsource a lot of it to just like product photographers and things like that for our social content. And then we have one person that runs all of our social media. And she does a great job of curating content as well that she can create on like Photoshop and things like that. She's not actually out snapping photos for the main content. And then my role is just really like high level. It's like, what is going to drive the brand forward? So, what are the next steps? What is, next year look like? What are the big projects we're going to come on? And I also am, I still like being extremely hands-on. I'm in the office every day. I'm, like I said, we don't have any partners. So, for an example, if you were to go to our website, sourstrips.com, and, want to carry sour strips in your store, for example, and you fill out the dealer portal and email, send off to be a wholesaler or a dealer, that email comes directly to me. It doesn't go to anyone else. It comes directly to me. I'm the one that's giving the approval, handling the negotiations of the sale, seeing if we're a fit. And once I give it the green light, once we come to an agreement, then it moves on to someone else who then handles account setup, all that jazz. So on a high level, I still do a lot of that. I'm still ordering all the inventory myself. So eventually I'll expand out of my role, but I really have enjoyed building this business with my team, and I very much enjoy being extremely hands-on.
Yeah. First off, I think staying lean and keeping it like a small team is like a great idea, especially since so many CPG brands are getting clapped left and right as soon as the VC money dries up.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if you're seeing this.
I've started going down the rabbit hole of going in like CPG space. I'm in a lot of these like group chats on like Telegram and stuff that are a whole bunch of business owners that kind of collaborating and giving advice, which is cool. And, learning about that. A lot of these brands that I buy or my girlfriend buys, I'm like in group chats with the owners, and they're just like kind of dudes like me, probably a little more biz savvy rather than like an influencer who kind of came into the space. But yeah, no, I do see that a lot. And it's really just different strategies, like I kind of joked about having, running in with like debt and stuff in the company. And like, there are strategies too. Hey, we're going to try to grow as fast as possible. We need a lot of capital up front. Not everyone had the springboard like I did with the social media audience. And a lot of people who do have that springboard have a product or a service that will be extremely successful because of their audience in the first 6 months or a year. But for it to continue to live on past that point, once the hype dies down, that is the real challenge. And I think that we've done an excellent job with Sour Strips of, I contribute a lot of luck and timing to the execution of what we've done. But as fortunate as enough as the stars aligned for us, we did the right things at the right time with the right people at the right scale. And now, we run a profitable business that, I used to stress a lot more about cash flow than I do now. And, I can focus on the growth of the company rather than, analyzing every dollar that's being spent. But I've done so by being extremely frugal, being smart, and applying what I apply to my own life in the business of, do we actually need to spend this money? Do we actually need to spend this much money? How can we do this cheaper? Will the result be 90% the same and we can spend thousands and thousands less? Let's do it. But there's also a lot of things that I've had to make tough choices on to move the business along that did cost me a lot of money, but the opportunity of the thing that presented itself outweighed the negatives of, spending a lot of cash at one time. So I'm learning a lot on a daily basis, man.
How have you
Yeah.
incentivized your, I guess, employees or team, the ones that have been with you from day one? So obviously, Mona was your, I guess, right-hand person from the beginning. And you can only increase a salary so much based on the business. Is it mainly just salary based? Is there equity? Is there some kind of bonus involved there? Without maybe going into too much specific detail.
Yeah, without diving super deep, I mean, I try to make sure that everyone is paid fairly and accordingly to their, what they're doing. And, it's really difficult in a startup company like this because all of the individuals on our team, none of them have come from a background of doing any of this. So it's hard to, I say this takes with a grain of salt, but it's hard to know what their true worth is of that role that they're doing because I'm essentially I'm essentially paying my team members every day to learn how to do their role, right? So, if they left today, they have all the knowledge to go and do this same role at another company because they've learned it at ours. So, yeah, there are a lot of bonus incentives, throughout the year, depending on, uh, your typical holidays and, big milestones that we achieve. And then there's some conversations that I've had kind of like off the record with them that are for more long-term incentivization for being loyal and staying with the brand. But at the end of the day, man, you got to find what motivates each employee, and that isn't always just money. I think it can come in a lot of different ways, and so I'm learning that on a daily basis. But I try to take care of my employees, and I will continue to take care of them because having a great team is so valuable. And I think a lot of people will maybe underpay individuals um, because they think that they can replace them super easy. And while you can replace people for a lot of tasks, you know, the headache of getting in a person who doesn't have the same vision, doesn't align with what you're doing is more of a nuisance in the workplace rather than a benefit at a cheaper cost. So that's something I'm still learning about on a very consistent basis is how do I motivate my employees? How do I compensate them as fairly as possible? As a business owner as well, it's also like when you jumped into this, no one taught me of like, hey, here's how much you're supposed to pay employees. Here's how much you're supposed to give them raises. Here's how often you're supposed to bonus them. Here's, when their job, when is it time to elevate them into a new position rather than just, hey, we're a startup. We need to do a lot of things at once. When have they, when do you offload some tasks from some people? And it's a learning game, and I'm trying my best. And we keep a very open communication with each other. So whether it be compensation, whether it be their roles, how much they're working, how they feel stressed. I'm like, let's talk to me. Let's figure out game plans. I want everyone to be happy. I want everyone to be, as low as stress as possible. And I want to keep the stress during the day. After work hours, I try not to communicate with my team too much unless some, things come up. But yeah, just learning.
Yeah. And one thing I wanted to ask you is, earlier you spoke about the warehouse staff that you're like growing the warehouse staff, and I'm guessing you rented your own warehouse as opposed to going with a 3PL. I'm sure you weighed out your options. Is there a reason for that? Because most people I know in the e-coms or CPG space, they just just outsource that to like a third party.
Um, my business is very complex. Not saying it's like not saying that other people's aren't complex, but we have a lot of different packaging methods and a lot of different ways that it goes out the door, and to organize all of those seems like a logistical nightmare. And I was listening to there's a podcast that it's kind of a newer podcast, like a in the CPG space. It's like the owners of like Ridge Wallet, Hexclad, Simple
Oh, yeah.
Modern.
Sean, right?
Yeah, so those guys over there. So and he brought up a good. They went on a whole discussion discussing decisions on going 3PL or versus decisions of doing your in-house fulfillment. And something they said that they agreed on is, when you're small, do your own. When you're in the middle, outsource. And when you get super big, you need to bring it back in house because no one's going to care about it like you do. And for us, we have I when you have so many moving parts like we do, we're not just online. I mean, we're in retailers, but and we have so many different retailers that use so many different ways of receiving the package. There's different ways that we ship it. There's sometimes we do, different custom breakouts of the boxes. And it would just, as far as I know, could a 3PL do all those things? Yes. But then, do I need to hire 4 people to manage all of this? And then the salaries of them comes out to essentially less to, I guess there's pros and cons, but for now it's working extremely well. And again, we're controlling everything. We're learning everything. And again, the cash flow is not a hindrance versus outsourcing. And I think the way that we're doing it is actually probably the cheaper method, and we're just able to control the flow. And I see we have no intention of going to a 3PL. We're actually by the end of today, I should lock down actually our next warehouse. We should get the green light on it. So we'll be expanding into a warehouse that'll carry us for the next like 3.5 years.
Was that the 60 or 70,000 square foot one that you were looking at? I think
You'll
have
to
two,
find
right?
out in my YouTube video.
Okay.
It's one that I've shown, and there was a warehouse that we looked at that it's a really good opportunity for us. It'll suffice for our growth over the next couple of years. And they wouldn't agree to our terms, and we've gone back and forth heavily, and we ended up negotiating significantly in our favor. And it's a really good move for us, and it mitigates our risk a lot because of the lease term generally out here for a large building like we want to do, where we need to add air conditioning on all these things. You're looking at a 5-year minimum, but likely up to a 7-year lease. Oof. Which 7 years is probably pretty normal, because they're going to put in $1 million, $1.5 million of their own capital for air conditioning, building out warehouses. And we managed to find a warehouse that is perfect for us. That is a 3-year lease, which is pretty insane to keep our not just risk low. And it gives us a point that, hey, in 3 years, let's see where we're at. Let's see where we need to go. And from there, we'll know exactly how large of a warehouse we need to be in. Because if we're outgrowing this space that we're going into, we need to level up on like another level. So that'll be pretty wild to see when it happens.
Yeah. Hey, when you first launched, I'm guessing you were the one in charge of all the logistical side, right? It's like an absolute nightmare.
No. I mean, I wouldn't take credit for that. One of my other right hand, his name is Nick. He handles all the operations in the warehouse, and he's been pretty crucial in. He's the one that managed all the logistics. Are there a lot of like aspects of it on the back end operational side that I've done to get it all set up? Yes. But is that my area of expertise and understanding how to get it the most efficiently out the door? No. That is someone on our team. Yeah, his name is Nick. He does all of that extremely well. And there's some other people that are under him that have grown in the roles and that now aid him significantly. But in the earlier stages and to this day, he's the one who kind of leads the ship on the logistics and the operational side of things.
Damn. Yeah, nice. Shout out to Nick then.
Yeah.
All right. And right now, what's the I don't know if this is public information, but like what's the split between e-commerce side and like the D2C side versus wholesale? Can you speak on that? Or by the way, if anything is like sensitive, just say no, and then we'll be fine.
No, you're good. Yeah, we started as a D2C brand off our Shopify website, and I'd say for the first maybe the first 2 years, we were about 80% online, about 20% in my world, I classify wholesale as separate from like retail, because we have a lot of wholesalers and we have a lot of retailers. But for this conversation, we'll group wholesale and retail together. Mm-hmm. But we were like 80% online for D2C. And then what's funny is here's a little story that I haven't shared like publicly. Like I said, I communicate with a lot of other CPG owners, and one of those that I would chat with would be Tara Bosch, who's the owner of Smart Sweets, who is is wildly successful alternative candy in the space. And I was chatting with her when we first got our Target contract to launch into 1,300 Targets back in 2021. So right at about the 2-year mark. And I remember discussing with her, and because she was into Target, so I was trying to just get her, pick her brain on things. And I was saying how, we were 80% online. And she told me, she's like, one day that'll flip. She's like, you'll be 80% in stores. And I was like, there's no way, we're crushing online. Like, there's no way retail can do what we're doing online. And, lo and behold, flash forward a year and a half later, and now it has flipped. She was absolutely right. And
Oh, it flipped. Whoa.
yeah. So now our revenue is, it is absolutely 80% at a minimum, of retail wholesale. So the retail is a huge component of what we do. It is absolutely the future. If anything, our online has essentially flatlined, but not in a, it sounds bad when you say that, but it's a very healthy, very healthy number that has just been kind of maintaining, because it's kind of a game that's impossible to know the actual metrics of this, but it makes a lot of sense when you talk about it, that the more you expand into other channels, the more you expand into retail, that will have a direct impact on your online sales. Because yes, there are a lot of people who are buying from ads for the first time, but now that you start being in the Target down the street from them, the Walmart down the street from them, the gas station down the street from them, why are they going to order the candy on the website? So it's really impossible for me to know the exact correlation, but I think that has a huge attribution to the reasoning of our online sales kind of flatlining. But again, it's a great revenue cash driver for the business, is the online sales. But yeah, retail is the future. We're continuing to expand. We're in about 7,000 stores at the moment. And we actually, I just got an email yesterday. I won't say the company just yet, but if this goes through, which it should, we should in the next couple weeks, just instantly from one retailer, add 1,000 more stores just from them. So wow. I mean, it's, the volume is just insane. And now I start realizing how these companies are so big, because while we do have amazing velocity in stores like the retailers we're in, Target, for example, we sell a ton of our product. Like, we're at the top of the charts. We're record breakers every single week. We're crushing it. Right. But I realize you really don't even need, you want to, but you really don't even need to crush it in every single store. You just need to sell, normally you should sell what they kind of expect of you to sell on a regular basis. And you do that in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 stores. I mean, you're talking so much volume that your business is going to grow exponentially. You don't really need to be selling out in every store. While that's great, and that's what you want, for candy, really, I believe, I'd have to look at these numbers exactly, but an example is stores look at per sale per week, sales, or per store per day, right? PSPD and PW. And the velocity of candy, for example, per week or per day, they're only looking for a bag or two being sold a day, maybe per flavor per store. So if you're selling 3 bags of candy per store per day, that's really good. In your head, you're like, oh, 3 bags, that's terrible, right? But that's what the kind of the standard is for a lot of these products. I don't know if this is exact, the numbers, but that's an example. And all you need to do is sell 3 bags a store a day, and then you just keep adding more stores. And so you can see how retail is this beast. And now on the opposite side, you're like, oh, retail, you're going to take significantly less margins. And that is the case, but the volume just makes up for it. It really does. But with the higher volume and the lower margins, you need to become a master of your cash flow, especially when you're launching into these stores, because you need to prepare for these orders that are going to be super, inventory intensive. So you need a place to store them. You need to buy all that inventory significantly far ahead of time. You got to get it ready for that big launch of the chain-wide rollout in 2,000 stores. Then you got to send it. Then you're waiting 30 to 60 days for that cash to come in from their payment terms, right? So you're floating a huge order for 6 months. And if you're a startup company, it can be very tricky. And that's why you got to be very strategic in the early phases of your business to maximize cash, and then hold on to it, and don't be buying Lambos, as soon as you hit $100,000 or $1 million in your business, because You know, when Walmart comes knocking or Target comes knocking and they're like, congrats, we want 1,700 stores in 3 months. Here's our order of hundreds of thousands of units. And you're like, how am I going to pay for this? I don't get paid for 6 months from when you're placing this order, basically 4 months. Oh crap, I need to have that much cash and be able to float. And then in that amount of time, your business is still doing everything else. You need to pay for that inventory and those employees and the overhead. And hopefully your business is growing at that exact same time. So it's this whole whirlwind that you got to be prepared for, that I had no idea, that no one gave me a heads up on, that I experienced. I've experienced it all, man. I've gone through the ringer. I've gone through very stressful payment term times, and the bank accounts got extremely low, and I was super stressed, and no one knew about, that I was worried about, paying all my employees, because I knew the money was coming in. I just had to wait. I had to wait 2 months, but yeah, it's a long-winded answer to say that retail is the future for what we're doing.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there's something to be said about the free cash flow that you
it's so
are hammering home. It's so stressful. It's like unbelievably stressful when you're waiting for the money to hit the bank account. And then for you to cash conversion cycle is so important in like a CPG brand, especially with retail.
I love like the phrase, because I've heard these phrases, but and it's like I can extrapolate what that means, but it's funny because I've never used that phrase in my entire life, but it's a very common CPG space, and it just shows the differences of I'm just winging it, I'm just doing all this shit. I'm like, cash conversion cycle. I need to start using that. Makes me sound better, man.
No, you don't need to.
I'm just waiting for the money to come in from the retailers.
Yeah. No, you're killing it. People are going out of business while you're thriving right now. So there's something to be said about that. I think I think a lot of what happens right now is first-time founders don't really calculate things properly, so they end up in the red a lot of the times. It seems 4 years in, you're absolutely. I'm sure you're running projections no tomorrow.
I don't run projections. No,
you don't.
No, I don't.
How do you order your inventory? Are you just I think we'll do this?
Yeah.
And then
yeah. That's exactly.
Jackie's mind is blowing.
A lot of my answers. That's why Sean from Ridge Wallet actually commented on there. I mean, they're doing 100 million, 200. I mean, they're doing this crazy money, right? I commented on their podcast, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm very aware of you. We got to get you on the show, whatever." And I was like, "Dude, I'm gonna look like a fucking idiot on your show." Because I don't know, I don't do a lot of the normal things that people are gonna wrap their head around. So I mean, I do it my own way. Do I have at the moment, we actually just signed with an ERP system, so we're about to implement ERP to kind of synchronize all of our systems. But at the moment, for the past couple of years, we literally run on these spreadsheets that I have on this other computer screen, and my ordering mechanism is just okay, the manufacturer's I'm like, well, okay, what do we need for the next couple months? I just look at what do we do last month? All right, let's throw an extra 10% onto there, and let's just order it. And luckily, essentially my mindset with inventory for candy has been just do not run out of product, Max. Do not run out of product. And because I've been out of product before, and now it's kind of to the point where I'm kind of a little more free with purchasing product because I know it's going to sell. It's a lot less risk for me. I mean, with food product, you have to be kind of strategic because of the, Best Buy dates and everything. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, at the moment, I make a lot of my decisions just based on how I feel that day and my emotions towards the business. Crazy. So there's not a forecasting really strategic system. Do I have all the POs already placed for the next 2.5 months, 3 months? Yes. I have timelines of when they're going to ship over the course of the next 3 months, but it's really not as analytical and fancy as people probably think. And are there ways that I could do a lot better? Yeah, but like I said, no one in my business, and it's a weird flex, right? I'm we all don't know what we're doing, but none of I had no idea how to do any of this shit, right? And it's I could hire someone, but I'm more you know what? Let me kind of figure it out, and I've been making it work right now, and because of that, maybe I've lost a whole bunch of money because I never hired anyone to properly do it, or maybe I'm saving a bunch of money because I didn't hire anyone to do the things that I'm I'm kind of doing it. as we get larger and as we, I lean into this, like, I don't know what I'm doing thing, but as we get larger, there absolutely will be a time in the near future that I will be hiring my first employee that is going to come from experience, that it's going to be a senior level type of person, that it's going to come from working for another CPG space. We're not there yet. But at the moment, our business is pretty, it's a really like a unique unicorn, man, because at the moment we have a lot of our processes pretty down. And at this point, it's just add more stores, increase our inventory, get more, and manage the logistics of having 100 different retailers rather than 50. It's just scaling the distribution of it. Yeah, which is maybe not normal for a lot of other brands. There's a lot more complexity to it, but for us, it's like we're just doing what we're doing at a bigger scale. And there will be a point when I need to be a little more strategic when the inventory is in the 5+ million units on hand kind of thing. But right now we're able to manage it, and yeah, like it's been like me and like 3 other people that have essentially run the entire back end of this company for the past like 4 years.
Yeah. VC backed CPG brands punching the air right now for sure.
Well, it's different strategies, man. It's like, sometimes people got to sprint. Like, I am so fortunate to have had this social media audience to leverage it, and then, launching it with the proper hype. And then exactly when we launched it, who is to know that the vid would happen? And then all of our online sales would go through the roof because everyone is at home. And that made our social medias blow up and the hype go through, skyrocket. How could I have planned that, we would do like, $500,000 on a launch on candy in the middle of COVID, right? With like launching some of our flavors. It was insane. And then, as COVID ended, the hype from the brand is through the roof. So all these candy buyers are seeing us online. So now everyone's going back into stores, retailers reaching out to us. And now, like, okay, everyone's going back into stores. So online sales are starting to go down from this like crazy elevated peak. And now retailers are starting to go up, right? And it was just like this serendipitous thing. Everyone, works really hard to be able to get the big mammoths like the Walmarts, the Targets to reach out, like to get an account with them. We had Target and Walmart email us on the same day within an hour of each other, like that doesn't happen very often. Like the candy buyers are coming to us. I even had to hire a sales team to try to get new accounts because all of the stores just email us. And that's not normal. That's not normal that every candy buyer comes to us. And it's like, we got really lucky, and we, got a great partnership with Target. We had a lot of other amazing ones. Like HEB was our big first retailer who's been amazing, but like Target was the first national account. And once you get into one of these stores and you start selling well, all the other candy buyers are seeing the data from the store and are like, I would like that in my store. So it starts this trickle effect where we have not needed, a sales team, where not only do I need less employees, less space for those employees, don't need to pay a, 5%, split on if you get this sale, there's a, you get a piece of the revenue if you get this account. I haven't had to do that because we never needed it. And it's a really like wild, lucky, fortunate situation we're in. And I don't take it for granted a single day. And, we work really, really hard, but I attribute a lot of just a great product with great branding, launched at the right time, like in the right circumstances, and a lot of luck. And then from there, we just like, all right, let's keep sprinting with this thing. Let's not slow down. So
that's crazy, dude. I had no idea you did zero outreach. So what?
Zero.
Let me get this. Let me get this straight. Hold on. This is kind of messed up. So so you launched. You did a great launch, which is you leveraged your audience, right? For this launch, primarily, I'm guessing.
The launch was so monumental, at least in my world, because not only was it also, I didn't know that at the time. I should have relished in it, but at the time, I didn't know that was going to be the peak of really like vlog popularity and my popularity on YouTube. Like I almost timed the top. I sold at the top, right? Like I launched this company with not only a 6-month like build up hype of the secret project, we had about 300 influencers on board to essentially launch the brand with me. I was like, let's be a part of this Project XX. Let's get everyone involved. And I had hundreds of influencers that promoted it on the same day that I launched it. It was my 30th birthday. So it was like this already like big hype around that. It was me kind of telling my audience way ahead of time that you're going to love this. I told them the price of what it was going to be. I was like, hey guys, can't tell you what it is. You're going to love it. It's $25.99. That includes shipping. That's the price of it. Just trust me. Save up $25.99 over the next 4 months of me talking about this. That's what you can get me for my birthday. If you've enjoyed my videos, I've never asked you to buy shit. I'm asking you to save up $25 for my birthday, you know? And it was like this thing, and like it launched, and we sold out. We launched with 20,000 units of candy. We sold out in an hour. Then we launched 1 month later with 20,000 units of candy restock. We sold out in 30 minutes. We launched again a month later with 20,000 units. We sold out it took 3 hours. And then every time after that, it started slowing down. We started adding more inventory and it started slowing down. And yeah, so that's kind of the original phase to kind of paint a picture of where we started.
Dude, that got me hyped up, man.
And then from there, I know you were starting to ask about the outreach. If you have any questions about that, but yeah, so you can go on.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you said 300 influencers. Are these like your friends and contacts in the industry?
No. These are just random. These are just influencers. These are like basically the way I did it was like, hey, I'm launching this secret project. I have a big following. If you're someone with like over 50,000 followers and you want to be a part of the secret project and get it, like DM me. It's coming out in like 6 months. People have no idea what it was. So a lot of people, the people who followed me would be like, all right, I want to be in. And I'd be like, okay, I got the secret project. It's not controversial. You're not going to get in trouble for it. It's not going to interfere with any other brand that you work with. Just trust me. You're going to love it. If you want to be a part of it, give me your shipping information and I'll reach out like closer to when we're launching it to send it out to you, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. And so I started with my network, and then it turned into this thing where I would get reached out to by a lot of other big influencers saying like, hey, my buddy sent me this, said you needed some more people. Like it almost like made it like you didn't want to be the influencer that wasn't involved with like the launch of this product. And then I sent it out to everyone, and inside I included a $25 movie gift card for the movie theater that was closest to them. We like searched up their addresses and stuff. Yeah. So, that was actually my buddy Christian Guzman. That was his idea. And I was like, that's a great, because then, they can take the candy, they can take themselves and their, whoever to the movie. And the way I kind of looked at it was like this $25 gift card, which cost me about $3,000 for all the influencers combined. But I was like, this $25 gift card will almost guarantee that they will post about it because it's a nice, cool gesture. And I think that will like seal the deal of them actually posting about it. So then I sent it out to everyone. We had about 300 people. I'd say less than 30 of those people I've actually met in real life, like to give you an idea of like my actual circle. Wow. So we sent it out to people like 5 days before it launched. And in there was like, hey, this is here's the brand. And I was like, hey guys, when you open it, please don't post about it till September 9th, but can you send me a video on your phone of you opening it, like your reaction to it, trying it, So I got all these videos and I used all those, like oh my God, what, oh, what, like as like a hype thing. And then when it launched, I used all their like reactions, and it was just like, it was the most flawless execution of a launch, and no one leaked it. Like people had it for like the 3 days before. Not a single person posted it beforehand, which was like, which I already was like, someone's going to do it. Someone's going to leak it. I'm going to see a picture of it out somewhere. But yeah, it was like this perfect storm that I didn't plan for it to go that well. And then from there, we continued to leverage, which we still do. We send out probably about 100 new influencers a week to get product. And, we just continue to give product away at scale for free to anyone in the influencer space, celebrity space, athlete space. Yeah. And it's been an interesting ride, man.
Yeah. How do you send your like products to 100 people? So you have to do the outreach All that with five
So
people? Do you outsource that effort?
nope. We have one person that does all that actually. Uh, we have this girl, Callie, who is the head of our social media manager. She manages herself. There's no one, there's no people that she's managing, but she's the social media manager. She manages the social media, but it's funny because I say that because like there's no team of social media. It's just it's her, right? So she's just kind of all day on Instagram, and TikTok and all these, other apps. And, now it's kind of organic and people are coming to us, but she basically just like DMs celebrities and influencers that pop up on the Explore page, whatever, just anyone, like anyone who has a following, whether you, we kind of like have it like if you have, even if over like 10,000 followers, like if you have any good engagement, we reach out and we're just like, hey, do you love sour candy? We'd love to send you some. We don't ask for anything in return. We don't say we'll send you some if you shout us out. We don't mention any of that. We just send them a box. And Callie has been doing that for about. We have people at the warehouse make the boxes now, but she creates a list online, and we I would say on average we send anywhere from 5 to 10 boxes every single day to a new influencer. So every day, probably about 5 to 10 new influencers are getting the product. I'd say we have a 50% rate of them posting it. And then we have about 200 people on a monthly restock list that are influencers who have been like, yes, I would like to get this every single month. And in return, we just asked to post on their story one time and tag us. So every month we have about 300 influencers, 2 to 300 influencers that are on this like rotating monthly restock list. And on top of that, again, we're sending it out every day, but a lot of it's organic. Like the other day we were on, like, people tag us all the time of like people that, and we know who we've sent to, like the one of the lead singers or the main character, one of the people, I think her name's Jenny in Blackpink, like one of like the largest K-pop
Dude,
groups.
Jenny
This girl
from
I think
Blackpink.
yeah, I think it was Jenny, but someone sent me this thing, but she in one of her vlogs, she's like doing something on a table, and in a jar next to her is like a bag of rainbow sour strips.
No
And people are
way.
sending me this, yeah, and it's like in her video, and I sent it to Callie, and Callie, first of all, had no idea who Blackpink was, but she's all like, she knows exactly, even though she's reaching out to all these people, like she knows exactly who she's sending to. So, and she's like, I never sent it to that person. She's like, I never sent it to her, so she got it somehow. But that's just the idea. It's like we've sent it to like Lil Yachty and like he's posted about it, G-Eazy, like all these people. And it's funny, even like Lil Yachty, top of the game, friends with, multi-millionaire, has all the money in the world. We sent it to him, and like a year later, he like DMs us back and is like, hey, can I get some more candy? We're like, sure. And then like literally a year later, like it's like a year in between, and he's like, can I get some more candy? And then we're like, at that point, it was the biggest thing, because Callie's like, I know normally for like really big celebrities, we never have any sort of ask. Like if they're just like, can I get more? We're like, yes. Normally it'd be like, if they want it the second time, it'd be like, okay, will you give us a story, like a story post? But on the third time for Lil Yachty, I was like, you know what, Callie, ask him. We're like,
That's so funny.
we're like, Lil Yachty, we don't say Lil Yachty, we say it by his name, but we'll be like, like, we'd love to send it to you again. Like, would you mind if you like gave us a little tag like in your Instagram? And he's like, yeah, sure. And he like tagged us on his Instagram and shit. And like, but what's crazy about that is if people would pay for this kind of stuff, as cool as Lil Yachty is, it had zero, our Instagram didn't grow from it. You'd think if Lil Yachty posted about it, surely there's a spike in online sales. None. All these influencers, but it's more of just, my idea is to just get the product out there at scale and have it be the candy that is in everyone's hands, of every influencer. We send it to, even now we're extending outside of even influencers. Now we're starting to reach out to people who are going to take all this information and use it for themselves, but it's a good strategy. It was actually my girlfriend's idea, but now I have Callie reaching out to like every college, every sorority and fraternity, and be like, oh, anybody have a like, oh, your giant sorority house? Let's send you guys 150 bags of this candy. And so it's like, let's get into the college world. Let's get into like all of this stuff. And for us, our products are pretty low cost. So it's not, if you have dishes that, cost you $40 to make, it probably can't send it at the scale that we're doing. But for us, to send someone a box, it cost us less than $30, to with everything included. So that's where I spend the marketing dollars. We do run ads, but for the most part, it's just give the product for free and get it and flood the world with it. Make every, like, you can't look anywhere on social media and not see this brand. And then the idea behind that is that people have seen it everywhere. And then they go into their store after we continue to expand, and they're like, there's that candy I saw Lil Yachty eat. There's that candy I saw in, the Blackpink girls, video. It's like, let me try that. And then when you have a good, it's a good product, people who like sour candy, they try it because they saw it somewhere. Once you try it, and if you like sour candy, as someone who's a sour candy fiend, once you try this, you're not going back. like you're gonna keep getting it. So it's like it hooks you in. So it sounds like I had this whole mastermind like plan this whole time, but it's just like all of this has just happened, and I'm telling you what we've done. But it wasn't like a crazy. Like when I started, I didn't have this like business plan of like, okay, we're going to launch, we're going to do that. Once we've executed and maximized our online D2C, we're then going to expand into retail, right? At that point, we will transition into influencer marketing at scale. We will produce, I didn't plan on any of this shit happening. Yeah. I didn't, like, none of it was premeditated. It was just like, this is just how it's happened, and it's worked for us, and we continue to do it. And here we are.
Fuck. I think sour strips is like the perfect product. And your execution is perfect for a sour candy product as well. I can't think of a way I would do it differently.
Yeah, but again, it's all like, and not to downplay it, but it's just like, it's dumb luck. It's like,
no, it's not. It's actually not.
You say dumb luck, but you've been building your YouTube audience. You've been building your YouTube audience for years. So you've had that leverage for so long. Plus, before was kind of like a stepping stone as well.
Yeah, and I'll get the comments sometime that'll be like, sour strips wouldn't be like, would sour strips be as popular as it is if you didn't have the following? And the answer is no, sure. Right? Like the answer is like, well, no, I mean, the way I look at it is like, would it have had the same launch that it did if I didn't have my social media platform? No. So that was the catalyst that started this whole ripple effect, right? And a lot of these retailers, they do look at the fact that they it's a great brand and great product, but there's a personality that's behind it that is I don't want to call myself family friendly, but I'm not like some crazy controversial guy that they don't want to be associated with. They're like, oh, this is a pretty normal dude. Like, it's also a bonus that we get an influencer that's going to post about our store and stuff, right? So that worked. But the way I look at it is, I'm like, yes, the springboard of my audience was a huge, huge driving force that I attribute the initial success, which led to our current success. But if you really want to break it down, it's like, I put in 7 years of work to build that audience to then have the ease of leveraging that audience. So yeah, was it easy because I had an audience? But build an audience for 7 years and then come back, and then in 7 years you can launch a brand too pretty easy in 7 years, so I've put in the work to build up the audience, and like I said, for me, it was like an authentic product. It was sour candy was something people associated with me. I was talking on some other podcasts, and I say, like, I've made videos for 10 years. If you go back and watch 10 videos you go back each year and watch 10 random videos, there's a good chance that in one of those videos I am eating candy, talking about candy, something, right? So it made sense starting this brand, and it's a wild world. And I didn't know that when I got into the CPG space, I absolutely was not the first, by far, but like now it's significantly more of a common thing to see a lot of these influencers starting physical product brands. And just like with myself, with YouTube in the fitness space, I got into the influencer owned CPG space like really early. Like I got in a lot earlier than, so it didn't look like I was just trying to start a product too, me too, right? Like me trying to launch something as well. And for me, it was really organic. And I think there's a difference of just launching a product with a following and launching the right product with a following. And it has to make sense. And for me, it was this. And I thank God it wasn't energy drinks, because getting into the refrigerated space and the who would have known that everyone who's now is everyone and their mother comes out the energy drink space. You know, Christian was one of the early adopters of it, but that would stress me out so much, because now there's 10 new influencers a day that are coming out with an energy drink. And like, I was like, God, like that would stress me out. And like, I'm, you know, luckily, knock on wood, there hasn't been a lot of people that have launched these candy brands. But that, you know, that I don't like to ever get comfortable and think that like no one's ever going to come for me. But, you know, we're in a good spot, and I understand the work and the effort that it took to get where I'm at now. And I know that someone really has to love their business and love what they're love this whole world to do what I'm doing as well. And if they don't, they're going to have business partners. And I think if you have unless you have this massive following, if you have these business partners, like I think that a large part of the success of my audience converting over time is me showing the behind the scenes of how I'm running this business. You know, I'm not just like, oh, it's a new flavor, guys. You know, my business partners completely did all of the work. I'm like, oh shit, we got to figure out a new warehouse. Here's the pros and cons of the warehouse. I'm implementing ERP system. Here's kind of what it does. What do you think I should do? Should I go with a bigger space? It's like I'm like being real. I'm being authentic, and I'm, you know, getting the people involved. And if I had business partners who were doing everything, it would just be, hey guys, buy my candy. Buy my candy. We got a new warehouse. I think I just found this out. We got a new warehouse. Buy my candy. You know, it's and not to downplay. I think having a business partner is actually a really strategic thing to do. And I probably would have saved a lot of headache and, you know, sleepless nights thinking about all the stresses of cash flow. But
no, I think
wouldn't take it back, dude.
Yeah, I think you did it the right way. I think I see too many creators try to launch their own products, and you're right. At launch, maybe you leverage your audience to an extent, and it's on brand for you because you are always seen eating candy. But I think one thing that separates you is probably the work ethic. Most of these like creators, I don't want to speak too broadly, but some of the creators I've seen launch their own products, like I'm pretty sure they don't have like. It sounds like you have a really good work ethic, but like it sounds like they don't have that, and they're not really down to like sit down and, you know, tackle these, you know, the launch strategy that you mentioned, and then the ongoing the sending out of like the products. Like they don't think about that day to day. I think
I think content creators at heart just want to be content creators, and for me, it's like I'm more. I think it's because of being in the fitness space, being surrounded by, you know, a lot of my very successful friends, is like you've seen people really put in the work. And in my space, it's like you don't want to be the guy that just owns a brand and doesn't actually run it. Like you'd be like, all my friends and everything would be like, what do you mean you don't run your own company? Like, so it's like, it'd be like taboo to even do that. So I think for a lot of creators in like other spaces, that's not the norm. And they're just like, oh, I create content. I'm launching a brand because I have a large audience. It's not because I want to get into the weeds of running a business. And with Sour Strips, especially with a CPG product, I mean, the things that I am learning and, you know, doing on a daily basis, I mean, shit, man, like, you know, when we get into HEB, there was a lot of times there's like HEBs up the street from me that whenever they needed a refill, I am going to the warehouse. I am picking up the product. I am going back to the delivery end of the behind the grocery store. I'm going into their system. I'm as if I'm a distributor on their computer in the back of their warehouse on their old, you know, DDoS looking, you know, 1980s looking software of like entering in the UPC codes. Then they're scanning the things. I'm putting it on a cart. I'm walking down the aisle. I am stocking the shelves of these grocery stores. And I did that for months and months and months instead of like hiring someone else. Cause I was like, nah, I want to see what this process is like. I want to see. So like, I wanted to essentially know, not really like know how to do, but like I wanted to experience every part of my business. Like I want to experience it. I want to know what it's like. I want to know if there's issues of like what people have to go through to get the product on the shelf. Like I want to be a part of all that. And I think it's not like I'm built different and I'm a lot, you know, cooler than these other people, but it's it's two different types of people. Do you want to be a creator that's like, I just want to try to leverage my audience, or do you want to build a business? And I'm building a business and bringing my audience along with me, you know? And again, I work with a lot of companies, like look at, you know, companies like Ghost and stuff. It's almost like I'm surrounded by people that I want the respect of as well. And these people like Dan and Ryan, like they're building this business on the day-to-day basis. For me to have a conversation with them, I want to also I want to build a business so I can have conversations with these people about the building of the business, not just like, yeah, we sold a lot, got a lot of revenue. I think I don't even know, you know, I don't know anything about what's going on. Like, so yeah, it's, I feel like a lot of times when I talk about like my pride in running the business, it comes off as like maybe that that's the only way to do it. And I don't think it is. And, you know, but I think for me, it brings me a lot of fulfillment and enjoyment, and knowing I take a lot of pride in the fact that myself and my small team has taken the brand this far. And I'm so excited to see what the next couple years look like for us.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. I think it's a good time to wrap up as well. I want to be mindful of your time. But yeah, dude, this pod got me hyped as fuck. I'm gonna go out there and just like
I feel like I did like
it.
95% of the talking. I apologize about that. But
No,
that's the idea. You're the guest.
yeah.
yeah, sometimes I feel like I go on rambles a lot of time, and I end up like I talk so much, but I say nothing, and then I loop back to saying the same things over and over again. But like I said, like one thing about me that I think a lot of people enjoy, at least is my audience, is like you can tell I don't have like the analytical mindset and like verbiage of a lot of these business owners. And I think a lot of people don't want to start businesses because they think you have to be like that, or you have to come from experience, or you have to know everything, or you have to have these like implementation strategies. And I'm like, I didn't. I don't. I'm like you, bro. I'm just like a normal dude. You know, I'm a normal guy. I don't know anything, and I'm just figuring it out, and I'm taking you guys along the path. I mean, and it's a learning experience, and I take so much pride in the fact that I've been so hands-on, and I will continue to be hands-on. And I think I will have to like, you know, hire some experience pretty soon, especially maybe in like the financial department. But you know, I'll be able to look back and go, I did everything I could to get it to this point, and now I'm ready to take it to the next level. And for that, and at that point, I need to bring on some help.
Yeah, I think it'll be exciting to see what happens next after you do hand over the reins to someone else.
What is your business again?
I have a dinnerware company, and we also do like
Dinnerware,
buying and selling
like dishes, plates, and
plates, bowls, etc.,
is
etc.
it like a high end, or like what's the kind
high
of
end,
what's the selling point on it?
Very high end. Like we're only in the European market right now because it's less competition. But I think we sell it for like €220 for like a 4-person setting.
Just for plates and bowls?
Two, like a large plate and a smaller plate, bowls. Yeah,
I'm sure they're nice, man. I'll have to check out the brand.
yeah, man. I'll send it over to you afterwards. But yeah, we can chat offline. Appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, absolutely,
Cheers,
man. Hopefully the audience got something from it. And until next time, guys.
Well, I think he accidentally left. He'll be back. Oh, there we go.